Good morning, everyone. Start na tayo. Okay, sige. Feel free to open your Zoom, your video if you are able to do that. So good morning, everyone. I'm Leia Abayao. I'm an associate. I'm a professor of history at the College of Social Sciences and currently the dean as well. And I'm very happy to welcome you all to our 114th Baguio Charter Day Anniversary Lectures. This is our third year in a row conducting these lectures as our contribution to the Baguio Day celebrations that's done annually by the city government of Baguio. So this year, we are very happy to share with you new researches from different units of UP Baguio. And we have three panels for today. And for this morning, I'm glad to announce that we have panels from the Institute of Management, and we're having a sharing of research done by Aaron Ramos and Adrian Cadavona. This is one of her best theses in the College of Social Sciences. And we're also happy to have our very own Chancellor, Corazon Abansi, who will be talking about bundling culture and arts for urban heritage tourism. And you'll have that more as our moderator, Verna Lisa Bautista, explain to us what these two lectures for this morning is all about. And then this afternoon, we will be having two lectures from the History Department of the College of Social Sciences. And we have Marinel Bendicion and our very own summa cum laude, Jeff Mitchell Paran, who will be talking about his thesis as well. Marinel is our BAS graduate from the College of Social Sciences also. So that session will be moderated by Carmen Yangot in the afternoon. And the last panel in the afternoon will be on biodiversity, and that will be a panel from the College of Science. And we will be having two speakers. One is our very own faculty from the College of Science, Zenaida Bawanan, whose ongoing project she's going to share this afternoon, together with a guest from the DNR CAR, Linda Claire Pawit, who'll be joining us towards the end. Like 3 p.m., we'll be having the last panel in the afternoon. So I just introduced the entire lecture, 3 panels for today, and I hope you'll join all these lectures. But for now, I'm very happy that 81 of you are joining us for panel 1 this morning. Thank you so much for coming and for joining us in celebration of the 114th Baguio Charter Day anniversary lectures. So now I'm going to turn the Zoom to our moderator for today, Assistant Professor Verna Lisa Bautista of the Department of Economics and Political Science, College of Social Sciences. On to you, Verna. Thank you so much.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Morning, everyone. So for this morning, we have our panel has two presentations from our former students, Aaron Jane Ramos and Adrian Daniel Cadavona. And as Professor Abayo said, from our very own chancellor. No, so I'm here to introduce to you the first presenters. No, they will be talking about their research entitled Economic Empowerment of Women Through Entrepreneurship, a Case of MSMEs in Baguio City. No, so there we have two presenters. First, we have Jane Ramos. No, so Erin Ramos, or Jane, is an academic achiever who graduated magna cum laude with a Bachelor of Science in Management Economics. Jane's unwavering commitment to promoting gender equality and empowering women has been a defining aspect of her personal and professional journey. As a current project manager in a prominent tech company, she has successfully managed projects for major players in the manufacturing and healthcare industries. Daniel Cadavona, her partner, uh, or Dane, is a fifth-year student of Management Economics who has been proudly raised and guided by women throughout his life, giving him the passion to fight for the oppressed and help people thrive despite the problems they are facing in this country. Dane is a marketing intern and financial consultant who enjoys doing volunteer work like teaching children in disadvantaged areas and partnering with public and private organizations to provide economic help for the less fortunate. So their paper today, as you can see, is a part of their advocacy. So let's welcome Erin Jane Ramos and Adrian Daniel Cadavona to present their paper. So I think we have a video of their presentation. So while we wait for their video to be shown, we will have a Q&A after the both presentations for both our for the three of our panelists. So the audience can type in their questions in the chat or raise their hand to be called para po sa inyong mga tanong. Thank you. After the both presentations, the audience can type in their questions in the chat or raise their hand. The audience can type in their questions in the chat or raise their hand to be called
Hello, esteemed
para po sa inyong mga
audiences. On
tanong.
behalf
Thank
of
you.
my partner and I, it is with great pleasure that I present to you our thesis entitled
For the
Economic
both
Empowerment
presentations,
of
the audience
Women
can
Through
type in their
Entrepreneurship, a
questions in
Case
the
of
chat or
MSMEs
raise
in
their hand. The
Baguio
audience
City.
can type
So
in
to
their
start,
questions
let
in
me
the
begin
chat
by
or raise their
saying
hand to be called
hello, dear
para po sa
audiences.
inyong mga
On
tanong.
behalf
Thank
of
you.
the
Hi,
nonprofit
nag-overlap audio.
thesis entitled
For the
Economic
both presentations, the
Empowerment, and we
audience
will
can
explore
type
in
in
our
their
thesis
questions in the
entitled
chat or both
How
presentations, the audience
Women
can type in
Services
their
Provide
questions in
to
the
the
chat or
Panelists.
raise
So
their hand to be
without
called
further
para
ado,
po sa inyong questions
let me
in the
begin
chat.
by
I'm sorry, Kaylee, nag-overlap yung audio. Can you share again? Apologies to the audience for the technical difficulties.
hello, esteemed audiences. On behalf of my partner and I, it is with great pleasure that I present to you our thesis entitled Economic Empowerment of Women Through Entrepreneurship, a Case of MSMEs in Baguio City. So to start, let me begin by saying that poverty is not gender blind, because more often than not, it is the women who experience the consequences of economic disparity.
women through entrepreneurship, entitled Economic Empowerment of Women through Entrepreneurship, a case of MSMEs in Baguio City. Let me begin by saying it is the women who experience the consequences of
Hello, esteemed audiences. On behalf of my partner and I, it is with great pleasure that I present to you our thesis entitled Economic Empowerment of Women through Entrepreneurship, a case of MSMEs in Baguio City. So to start, let me begin by saying that poverty is not gender blind, because more often than not, it is the women who experience the consequences of economic disparity. And we will explore more on this as we go on. To set expectations, we will discuss the whys, the what, and the how of the study, followed by the results and discussion and conclusion. First, why did we do this study? For me, specifically as a woman, I understand the hardships that we often face in our journey towards equality. I have firsthand experiences on the barriers and prejudices that women encounter in their pursuit of economic independence. The limited access to education, the unequal pay, and systematic discrimination. But aside from personal reasons, investing in economic empowerment of women is also a direct investment in inclusive economic growth, poverty reduction, and gender equality. So this study lets us understand the role of entrepreneurship in closing the gender gap and to explain the link between economic empowerment of women and entrepreneurship. So just a quick introduction on our study. When we talk about inequality of women's economic security, we mean that women often face unfair treatment in terms of pay and job opportunities. Hence, poverty is not gender blind. This inequality has significant consequences, such as the a global economic loss of $172.3 trillion, which is twice of the world's total economic output. In the Philippines specifically, even though there are laws promoting women's rights, there are still gaps in economic participation and opportunities. To overcome these challenges, many women are turning to entrepreneurship. And why is that? The reason is simply because entrepreneurship allows for women to have more control over their income and decision, both in their businesses and personal lives. In the Philippines, a significant number of businesses, which is around 99.5%, are small enterprises, and over half of them are owned by women. And these businesses also play a crucial role in providing jobs, which is employing nearly 80,000 people and contributing to the country's economy. And so we aim to experience the lived experiences of Filipino entrepreneurs in Baguio City in their business operations and how this impacted their economic empowerment. We took a comprehensive approach without industry-specific restrictions in examining the MSME or the micro, small, medium enterprise sector. We primarily concentrate on fully women-owned rather, or operated MSMEs in Baguio City with at least one year of experience, which is identified by the Department of Trade and Industry. Exactly what is economic empowerment? Economic empowerment is both a process and an outcome, which has three interconnected dimensions. First is resources, which are the preconditions or the medium through which agency is exercised. Agency is the ability to make strategic life choices, and this draws on the goals and the motivations of an individual. Achievement is basically the combination of agency and resources. It is what we call the economic empowerment of women. And to explain better or to let you know how these three dimensions are interconnected, we have the women economic empowerment framework. We begin with our inputs or our resources, which includes economic resources, contextual factors, and household factors, which now shapes which economic opportunities will be available for women. And for the purpose of this study, we focus on entrepreneurship. Following this now is the direct outcomes, which Filipina entrepreneurs gain from their experiences. And this influences their ability to exercise agency. The exercise of agency is the intermediate outcome, which serves as the primary way for women entrepreneurs to achieve their economic empowerment and is measured through financial independence and accumulation of power. But of course, there are other indicators of exercise of agency that we did not include in this study due to time restrictions. To further define, accumulation of power stems from the notion of empowerment implies empowerment, or it is a process of reclamation of power, which is seen through the ability of women to make strategic life choices and act on it. For financial independence, I think this is the most apparent indicator of economic empowerment, of focusing more on their control over savings and investment, assets, income, and expenditure. The final output, of course, is our economic empowerment, which is the right of women to have power within, power to, power with, and the power over economic resources and economic opportunities, which now enables women to enhance their economic situation. And in this framework, you can observe that there are feedback loops, which demonstrates the interconnectedness of these variables, which of course reinforces the importance of gender equality, inclusive policies, among others. We now proceed to the methodology of this study, and this is mostly technical. So just keep in mind that we conducted a qualitative study, which means that we examined the lived experiences of our respondents, relying mostly on open-ended and flexible methods such as semi-structured interviews. So what I want to highlight here is the criteria that we used for our sample, which is mostly taken from the definition of the PSA. But we also found it appropriate that the businesses should be duly registered and operational within a year or more to gauge whether being an entrepreneur really made an impact on the economic empowerment of this Filipinas. And of course, it should be fully women-owned and managed. We divided this section based on the objectives of our study. So for the first research objective, we contextualize the state of economic empowerment of women before their venture into the world of business. So for accumulation of power, we found that the power of the respondents in terms of decision making and unpaid work depends on their civil status and family dynamics. So for instance, married respondents have more power regarding their participation in the household decision-making process. We also found that the respondents are more inclined to participate in household decision-making when they have a supportive husband. In similar way, Household chores are often divided within family members when they have a positive family dynamics. So for financial independence, we found that all respondents have full control over their personal income before their business venture, regardless of marital status. However, the respondents differ when it comes to budgeting for their expenditures. 4 out of 6 of the respondents stated that their income from their occupations before was insufficient in providing for their household needs. All of the respondents also do not have personal investments before opening their businesses. 2 out of 6 of our respondents do not have a personal bank account for their savings. However, after their marriage, these respondents were able to open a joint bank account mainly used for household expenses. 4 out of 6 of our respondents also do not have personal assets before venturing into their businesses. So what happens after their venture into entrepreneurship? Now, what is the degree of economic empowerment of these women? Before, their power is limited, and now most of the respondents have reported an increase in responsibility and power over people that they manage, including their communities. And though doing a business is a 24-hour thing, all of the respondents have stated that they have more freedom now to choose what to do for their time. Half of the respondents also gained self-confidence in decision making, while the other half, thanks to a positive family dynamics, have always been compromising with their partner. The respondents were also able to hire a help, which lessens their household chores or unpaid work. But it should be highlighted that participating in unpaid work, as our respondents stated, is a personal decision. Now, in terms of financial independence, we found several changes. First is that all of the respondents reported more control over their savings from business income, regardless of the type of business. Our respondents from small and medium enterprises are able to use their income to buy equipment and machinery and reinvest back for their business expansion. And after their venture into entrepreneurship, all of the respondents were able to open their own bank account and separate business account from their personal account. These respondents also highlighted that they paid themselves first from the income generated from their business venture, which is then deposited into their personal bank account. Lastly, 4 out of 6 of the respondents were able to have their personal investment either in equipment that are being invested back for business growth or through financial markets. For asset ownership, we identified that there is an increase in asset ownership. Actually, 5 out of 6 of our respondents were able to own personal assets after having started their own businesses. However, most of these assets were also being used for their business operations. And one of the respondents actually preferred to have a joint asset with her husband. For control over income and expenditures, all of the respondents have disposable income now. Although the priority of the allocation of this income remains primarily for the household budget. 4 out of 6 of our respondents actually stated that they also allocate their income to leisure and family activities and even sponsoring the education of people in their community, which they call scholars. And to summarize the findings of our study, we found that the accumulation of power and financial independence are influenced by marital status, family dynamics, and business operations. These women's role in entrepreneurship grants them power, responsibility, and control over their employees and community. This also extends to managing their time, which enables a more flexible scheduling. Many of our respondents also are now able to own their own assets, have more disposable income, prioritizing still though household expenses. And they were also able to manage their savings through having a separate personal and bank account. We also found that entrepreneurship boosts confidence and decision making, while economic empowerment also reduces unpaid work, allowing these women to hire assistance or hire help. Now for recommendations. Due to time constraints, we were only able to focus on limited indicators such as financial independence and accumulation of power. So for further researchers, we recommend expanding these indicators and factors which can be considered to influence the economic empowerment of women. For Philippine entrepreneurs, we look forward to their business growth, recommending enhanced financial literacy and business skills. Lastly, we call on government agencies to recognize the importance of Philippine entrepreneurs in the country's economic growth and to extend its programs for an accessible and tailored business support. As we continue to champion gender responsive policies and initiatives, let us recognize that investing in women's economic empowerment is not only a moral imperative, but also a strategic choice that yields wide ranging social and economic benefits for the individual, the economy, the community, and the nation as a whole. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy this lecture. Hello, is
Thank you, Miss Jane. Yeah. So for your questions, you can already type them in the chat so we can our speakers can read them and answer them later. And so we now will move on to our second presenter. So our second paper presenter for this morning's panel is Professor Corazon L. Abansi, Professor of Economics in the Institute of Management and the current Chancellor of the University of the Philippines, Baguio. She finished her PhD in agricultural economics, major in natural resource economics at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, where she also finished her MS and BS in agricultural economics. She also has an MA in economics from UP Diliman. As a well-cited scholar and researcher, Professor Abansi also received the title and recognition of UP Scientist for the cycle 2021 to 2023, among other prestigious recognitions and awards. Professor Abansi, aside from her achievements in higher education, management, and academic research, is also dedicated to public service as she's part of the roster of experts in agencies such as the DNR, SHED, among others. Her service to the community, especially to the city of Baguio, continues by giving public lectures and presentations on her research and expertise, such as in today's event. So her paper today is entitled Bundling Culture and Arts for Urban Heritage Tourism in Baguio City, a UNESCO creative city in the Philippines. Let's all welcome Dr. Corazon L. Abansi.
Good morning. So today I will share with you my lecture on bundling culture and arts for urban tourism in Baguio City, a UNESCO creative city in the Philippines. We are all familiar with bundling. We see it in many occasions. Bundling is a business strategy, specifically a pricing strategy, where several products are grouped together into a bundle and are sold at a single price. A bundle is now an individual product, and in general, bundles are sold at a discount relative to the individual prices of each components. What are some examples of bundled pricing? We have combo meals, holiday bundles or baskets, a slow-moving product combined with a fast-moving one, a hotel room with breakfast and tour, and in the money market, we have savings account, investment, and insurance all in one package. How do we apply bundling in arts and culture? Heritage preservation is part of a city's economic development strategy as an investment. Heritage assets and resources contain a wide range of values, which most often are almost impossible to measure in monetary terms. In particular, social and cultural values have an important effect on society's well being and quality of life. Like an environmental good, cultural heritage can be seen as non tradable goods which contain non market values. Bundling is an effective way to address this market imperfection for heritage assets, while increasing loyalty in the arts by bundling consumer benefits, thus using art as a primary tool for urban revitalization. Also, heritage areas are assets for the local economy and build an identity. In Europe and Asia, genuinely creative cities or cultural capitals are generating cultural consumption by showcasing culture and art, thus maximizing the value of cultural heritage assets. Bundling culture and arts in tourism is consciously making crafts and folk arts part of the tourist experience. Why? Because where creative industries and historic businesses exist together, shopping, dining, and heritage settings complement each other well and engender an attractive leisure environment. Therefore, there is a case for art clusters and heritage enhancing a place's touristic appeal. Based from review of materials, techniques for bundling art components into a product or event include art walks, whether guided or self-guided, gallery crawls or hubs, gallery and or studio tours, and studio open days. Let's see how we apply bundling in culture and arts in Baguio City. The work of Hall et al. In 2016 in the Australian setting with title Increasing Loyalty in the Arts by Bundling Consumer Benefits inspired me to do this for Baguio City. Bundling of culture and arts can put tourists in touch with local elements of heritage. So in this lecture, I will describe the arts and culture landscape of Baguio City in terms of three types of art encounters, such as art appreciation, art experience, and gastronomic experience. Then I integrate these three forms of culture and art encounters in developing bundles that both promote heritage and maximize tourist utility. My methodology is a case study approach that uses broad data collection strategies which include the following: drawing on contextual information from related literature on art leisure activities, urban art, art festivals, urban regeneration, and cultural heritage tourism. Secondary information source from websites, brochures, media reports, tourist blogs, and various internet sources. Primary data gathered from a survey of tourists and interview of artists, museum coordinators, and owners of art spaces and restaurants. Participant observation was also used by attending talks, fora, and other events about the creative industry in Baguio. This methodology creates a layering of viewpoints of the art tour potential for contributing to Baguio's tourism product basis. In this slide, I showed three types of art and culture encounters typically experienced by a tourist: art appreciation, art experience, and encounter, and gastronomic experience. Please note that these encounters can overlap in a single touristic event or episode. So let's briefly discuss each of these three types of encounters. In art appreciation, we assume that places are appreciated by tourists. These places are generally visually satisfying and are reflections of different stories and dimensions of life of the city. Under this category are heritage sites, museums, and local gallery where different art installations and exhibits are found. These artworks reflect different cultures and traditions, particularly in the Cordilleras. Churches with unique architecture and interesting histories also belong in this category. Example of places that are for art appreciation are Bell House, at Camp Tianhe, the Baguio City Museum, Museo Cordillera, Bangka Museum, Pilak Silver Shop and Gift Store, Villa Romana Inn, Mahalika Gallery and Thematic Art Exhibit, Tip Top, and Ibais Silver Shop. In art experience and encounter, we look at the interaction between artist and beholder, which is key to pass on, share, and experience what the artist is trying to convey in his artwork. Cultural heritage tourists are especially interested in seeking ways to consume art experiences. Art has always been an expression of someone's thoughts, emotions, intuitions, and desires, but it is more than just a physical manifestation of these thoughts and emotions. It is about sharing the way one experiences the world, an extension of personality, a communication of intimate concepts that cannot be portrayed in words. And because of that same reason, artists look for some vehicle or medium where they can carry their intent and how this content is expressed. The book, Experiencing Art in the Brain of the Beholder, discusses the acts being considered when experiencing art, such as the art of seeing, the art of knowing, and the art of feeling. In this sense, the following places in Baguio City are classified as a way of encounter and experiencing art, together with the immersion and complete involvement of people in these various kinds of art offered in the city. Dominican Hill and Retreat House, Our Lady of Lourdes Grotto, One Town, One Product, Tamawan Village or Garden in the Sky, Mount Cloud Bookshop, Our Lady of Atonement Cathedral, Saint Joseph the Worker Parish, and Pink Sisters Chapel. In gastronomic experience, we recognize the concept of terroir, a French word which means a taste, a place. Gastronomy is recognized to contribute to tourists' overall quality experience. Tourism and gastronomy were also deemed to have a strong connection, which are usually shown by the manner of consuming, preparing, and presenting food that can actively construct unique experiences for the tourist. Food tourism, embedded in tourist destinations by focusing on local food and cuisine, as important promotion as important in the promotion of the place. Here are some of the restaurants and cafes around Baguio City that offers various gastronomic experiences for the tourist. Cafe Agam, Oh My Gulay Restaurant, Ililikha Artist Village, Farmer's Daughter, Baguio Craft Brewery, Solibao, Luisa's Cafe, Canto, Jack's Baguio Restaurant, and Kubong Sawal. In this slide, I propose four bundles, each combining the theme of art appreciation, art encounter, and gastronomic experience. The four bundles are Love at First Search, Precious Time, Art at Heart, and Serenity. So let's discuss each bundle. Okay, so bundle one is Love at First Search. What does this mean? The Love at First Search bundle consists of places that normally appear upon initial internet search of tourist spots in Baguio. This package will make the tourist experience a spiritual ride while appreciating art from art exhibits, installation arts, and culinary masterpieces. Here is a proposed itinerary for this bundled tour. The tour starts at Dominican Hill and Retreat House by appreciating art and architecture of the Diplomat Hotel and its huge collection of artworks. This building offers a vast amount of experiences which will surely take us on a spiritual journey, which will proceed to Our Lady of Lourdes Grotto, located at the top of Dominican Hill, where the view at the top is spectacular. A tourist can light up a candle, offer prayers at the shrine of the Virgin Mary, or calm the mind with the homey and soothing vibe emitted by the wooden interior of the Capilla na Jesus at Maria Chapel located at the corner beside the shrine. After filling the mind and soul, tourists can continue to experience art at the Cafe by the Ruins, a restaurant that offers the best dishes adapted for every season and features artworks from different local artists. A glimpse of both the past and the future is possible by visiting the Bell House, located at the Camp Chan Hay. This is a historical house which showcases American culture but also houses photographs of the old Baguio, providing a hint of what it was like before. The tour ends at the One Town, One Product Philippine shop, where tourists can buy souvenirs from Cordillera, such as woven products, wood crafts, coffee beans, local wine, processed food, local chocolates, and trinkets. Artworks displayed at the shop are also for sale. Now let's go to the second bundle, which we call Precious Time. The second bundle is a diverse collection of different attractions consisting of art exhibits, landscapes, literature, and food collectively consumed given precious limited time. When tourists tap into this bundle, they will be delighted with immersive and interactive experience and spiritual activities. Most of the offerings in this bundle are heavily focused on the preservation of the Cordilleran culture and heritage. Although modernity struck and entered the domains of these structures, the fundamental elements of the Cordilleran heritage, such as arts, food, and ways of living, are retained in the vicinity. So, the tour starts with an experience of the Cordilleran culture and heritage at the Tamawan village, fondly called the Garden in the Sky. The place features artworks of local artists as well as genuine Kalingo houses and Ifugao huts. Since this encounter requires lots of walking and climbing within the village, the next stop is at Farmer's Daughter, which is just a minute walk from Tamawan village to quench the thirst and hunger. Appreciation of the Cordilleran culture and heritage is sustained by proceeding to Museo Cordillera inside the campus of the University of the Philippines, Baguio. In addition to souvenirs from Museo Cordillera, tourists can enjoy the books from Mount Cloud Bookstore, mostly by local authors. A few steps away from Mount Cloud is the Lady of Atonement Cathedral, a rose-colored structure with neo-Gothic style twin spires. The tour ends a happy tummy at Sulibao, a homegrown restaurant known for its tasty Filipino dishes. The third bundle is called Art at Heart. It consists of the different attractions that are close to Baguio's heart. The destinations include Ben Cub Museum, Wood Carvers, Canto, St. Lourdes Church, Baguio Museum, and Otto Philippines Hub. The diversity of this bundle makes it unique, with destinations that will feed the senses. The eyes with a visual experience at Ben Cub Museum, Wood Carvers, and Baguio Museum, the soul when connecting with spiritual roots at the Jesuit Church of St. Lourdes, the nose and the mouth with a trip to Canto. Bandcamp Museum houses 15 galleries, ranging from the works that features the national artist Ben Cabrera in the Bandcamp Gallery to works dedicated to the culture of the region in the Cordillera Gallery. On the other hand, Baguio Museum showcases the development of the city, from the tribal times, the American colonization, to the modern day. Woodwork unique to Baguio can also be observed in the visit to the woodcarvers village. The magnificent works of craftsmen can be purchased, allowing tourists a feel of Baguio in their own homes. The fourth bundle is called Serenity. Serenity concentrates on the more tranquil parts of the city, located mostly at the outskirts of Baguio. Usually accessible through taxi rides or private cars, the places featured in this bundle ensures that the tourists would not have to fight through crowds of tourists in order to reach the place and appreciate the culture and arts of Baguio City and the Cordilleras. The tour starts by being one with nature through the blossoming flowers and towering trees in the botanical garden, whose large area provides enough space for everyone. After the morning stroll, tourists proceed to Pilak Silver Shop and Gift Store. located in front of the botanical garden and offering a wide array of silver jewelries and decorations handcrafted with particular attention to details. The next stop is St. Joseph the Worker, Paris, with its solemn and calm environment. It's a neo-Gothic structure in a pine-forested area. Lunch is at Capayagam while being surrounded by pine trees and looking at Cordilleran arts and crafts. The coffee served here is locally sourced from the farmers in the Cordillera. Local art immersion follows at Villa Romana Inn, which houses the prominent Mahalika Gallery and Conference Hall, featuring the works of many artists, from local youth to the work of our famous thematic artists. The area is also rich in plants and trees that gives a calm and serene vibe on the place. Art exploration continues at Arca's Yard Cafe, which has a library and a small museum filled with artifacts from the Cordilleran culture, like wooden spoons, rice gods, and textiles. And at the Galleria de Potenciana, which features artworks with one part of the restaurant having a rustic theme and the other half highlighting a rest house feel. Tourists may indulge themselves with sumptuous meals from Arcasiard and Galleria de Potenciana, two restaurants boasting a gastronomic experience with particularity in their signature dish, the Doctopi a la mode, a food delight that tourists might want to take home. I wrap up by showing how bundling of culture and arts can put tourists in touch with local elements of heritage in Baguio City. First, I map the arts and culture landscape of Baguio City in terms of three sources of value: art appreciation, art experience and encounter, and gastronomic experience. Second, I develop arts and culture bundles that both promote heritage and maximize tourist utility. Four bundles are proposed, such as Love at First Search, Precious Time, Art at Heart, and Serenity. Love at First Search consists of places that normally appear upon initial internet search of tourist spots in Baguio City. Precious Time Bundle is a diverse collection of different attractions consisting of art exhibits, landscapes, literature, and food collectively consumed given precious limited time. Art at Heart consists of the different attractions that are close to Baguio's heart, while Serenity concentrates on the more tranquil parts of the city, located mostly on the outskirts of Baguio. All bundles combine the three themes of art appreciation, art experience, and encounter, and gastronomic experience, and promote their collective consumption. So, from the management perspective, these bundled art and culture packages could be employed by city destination managers by giving the impression of an art and culture milieu that will attract heritage tourists. Initially, Baguio City has experimented with an art and culture crawl on a limited scale. This lecture provides more understanding about bundled art experiences, the role they play in attracting tourists to cities, or in contributing to their visit and their experience, and how they can be employed by destination managers as well as by the artists themselves to encourage urban tourism that put tourists in touch with the local elements of heritage. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much po, Professor Abansi. Ayan, so now that we're done with our two presenters, no, we palakpakan naman virtually ang ating mga presenters for this morning. So before we go to the Q&A, let me have a bit, give a bit of a summary, no, of what they presented today. So these are two very important, very relevant presentations on Baguio City, perfect for our Baguio Day lecture. So we have heard the first presentation of Miss Ramos and Miss Cadavona's presentation that showed the potential of entrepreneurship to address gender inequality through economic empowerment. We also saw how they emphasized their positionality, where Their experiences, like being raised by women, being a woman, shaped their advocacies in their research. We saw how their study contributes to Baguio City as the lived experiences of women in Baguio in their fully women-owned and managed businesses were the focus of their research. So the second presentation by Professor Abansi work discusses the concept of bundling, discuss the concept of bundling, a business strategy and its application in bundling arts and culture. This is again a contribution to knowledge as well as policy making in the UNESCO Creative City of Baguio, as it focuses on the potential of bundling art and culture encounters that are not just beneficial economically, but also culturally, as it could also be a strategy for urban revitalization, sustainable development, and of course, what Professor Abansi highlighted, urban heritage tourism. This was illustrated concretely through the 4 bundles that were proposed that combine the value of art appreciation, art, and gastronomic experiences, which are crucial for tourists to be in touch with local elements of heritage in every step of their tour and visit of Baguio City. So these 2 works presented today are but a glimpse of what our students and professors do in the College of Social Sciences, particularly in the Institute of Management, as they do research that is relevant not just to their disciplines of economics and management economics, but also to our city, Baguio City. So now we open the floor for your questions. So as I've said a while ago, you can add your questions in the chat or raise your hand. I will call you. So our speakers are here to answer your questions. For our speakers, kindly open your cameras so our audience can see you. Sige po. We also have a Q&A box in case you want to send questions anonymously or yeah. Any questions?
Nahiya pa sila.
I
Chance
think-
is joining us.
I think natatakot silang magtanong.
Ayan.
Matakot magtanong kasi pag nag-take na kayo ng ME1 or 3, yan ang topic nyo.
Oh yes, in our audience are students of IM students, and of course some of our students in other colleges and the of UP. Sige na, magtanong na kayo.
Hindi ako magagalit pag magtanong.
I can start. I have a question for Chansey actually.
Yes, Dean.
So I'd like to know, Chancellor, if you can you give us an idea of how much yung kikitain actually sa ganito? Potential nakikita, halimbawa, kung halimbawa if the history department is going to create a walk on this, or in partnership with IM, what's the projected nakikitayan, and also other aspects that would enrich learning for students as well.
Okay, so when I did this study, I did it with some of my students before. Actually, this study was done before the pandemic, but the pandemic did not give us a chance anymore to present it, even in conferences. It did not. I also didn't have the time to polish it, so that it could be published in a journal. So parang nawala na yon. And nung naghahanap ka nga ng magla-lecture, and sabi ko, well, I think I can share this one kasi this is relevant for Baguio City. But if you notice, medyo raw pa yung aking presentation kasi nga hindi na ako nagka-time na i-polish ito. And we haven't gotten to the point of computing the financial of doing the financial analysis, computing for the ROI. Na parang naisip ko lang na I should resurrect this study Because if ever there are students who would want to enroll at SILBI, yung ating social Social Innovation and Business Inclusion Center. And we'd want to take tour guiding or operating a tour or crawl like this, para yan ang kanyang gawing negosyo, then my study could be a starting point for them. Hindi na nila kailangang aral-aralin, meron ng konting nasimulan. But when we discuss this ng mga estudyante ko nung inayos-ayos namin to, this should go for Serenity, this should go for the idea is really to have a very economically viable crawl na hindi masakit sa bulsa ng mga tourist. Aside from an a la carte, pwede namang mag-a la carte, pwedeng hindi bundle yung kukunin mo. Pwedeng ikaw ang gagawa ng sarili mong combination. But these bundles na ginawa namin really responds to specific circumstances of tourists. Like, nagmamadali ako. So, ayan na. Ay, nako, hindi ako pwedeng mapagod kasi senior citizen ako. Tsaka naano ko sa traffic. Dito ka ma'am sa Serenity. Ganon. Gusto ko, nakakausap ko yung artist o kaya na nakaka-interact ako with the artwork. Dito ka sa sa art, dito ka sa yung sa art at heart. So yung mga ganon. So parang yun yung tiningnan namin. But each crawl is taken only in the morning for half a day. Kaya nga nag-e-end lagi siya sa lunch at saka konting shopping sa Otop. Kasi we know the tourist would want to go to Burnham Park and sakay the boat. And they would want to go to the market and buy gulay and walis. And they would still want to do lots of shopping, yung mga trinkets. So we don't want to deprive them of that other time for shopping. We want to consciously make them see and appreciate the culture and arts first. So yun muna. So hindi ako magsabi ng exact figure, but in our initial computation of how much, it is a very reasonable amount that any tourist would grab. Kasi mas makakatipid siya. Ganon. Kasi nga hindi na siya magproblema na magsasakay siya ng taxi kasi this will provide for then madami naman kayo. So madi-divide yung total cost to so many participants. So at the end of the day, the cost per person, per capita cost is smaller. And I think if someone in this itong mga students na nandito to ngayon would want to be an incubator of SILBI and would want to be an entrepreneur with this kind of service as the offering, siguro malaki ang kikitain nyo. Basta isama nyo ako sa negosyo. Ayan. Advisor.
Thank you po. And we have one question that came in po for you. And then after this, Joao, sige. From Nasser Dugasan, does the city of Baguio enact ordinances or policies to sustain culture and arts for urban heritage tourism?
Okay, so I think there are several ordinances that the city has enacted. One very specific ordinance which looks at governance. Hindi ko na lang matandaan yung number is the creation of the council. Baguio Creative City Council. So that council governs now, provides the overall governance on how to sustain Baguio as a UNESCO creative city. So that is the international trajectory of that ordinance. But even if it's meant to sustain Baguio's position as a creative city, the more important objective is to really make culture and arts a very significant sector of the city's life. It should be a sector that is prevalent in everything in the city, whether it's economic, where your economy should also be anchored on your culture and art. Your infrastructure, your communication, and all the other sectors relevant to a city, dapat yung culture and arts naka-embed doon. It's like a spirit that should be there. And that ordinance, the Baguio Creative City Council, I think is the larger umbrella that also interacts with other ordinances.
Thank you po. Yan. I would just like also to say na nandito rin po si Mr. Cadavona no, for your questions. So sige, Mr. Joao Reginaldo, you can ask your question. Where is he? Baka
Oh,
naka...
wait. Okay.
Can't
Wait.
open my mic, sabi niya. Can't
Ay.
open daw.
Okay.
Ay, sige po. Yeah, so but would you like there's also another question from Nasser Dukasan. I think na-mention niyo na rin po a bit a while ago about Silbi, ganyan. But can you expand on UP Baguio's existing partnership, collaboration with the City of Baguio in support of culture and arts and urban heritage tourism?
Okay, so annually UP Baguio participates in the annual celebration of Baguio, the creation, the awarding of Baguio as a creative city. That's September, October, November. Yan yung mga months of celebration commemorating Baguio's declaration as the UNESCO Creative City. So during this time, UP Baguio participates in many activities. Our Museo Cordillera is part of the packages of celebrations that are being programmed for the Creative City anniversary. So permanent fixture dyan yung Museo Cordillera. Then our Committee on Culture and the Arts organizes several exhibits so that tourists could also include in their itinerary yung mga exhibits namin sa UP Baguio. Some of our exhibits sometimes are even brought to the convention center to be included in the rosters of different exhibits. So yan ang mostly ang contribution namin in showcasing art. Then we do lecture series also that tackles arts and culture to contribute to the knowledge and the sharing of information about culture and arts in Baguio. So aside from this one, itong ginagawa natin ngayon is in commemoration of Charter Day. But we do a lot of lectures also during the October, November time, where we now celebrate the anniversary of Baguio as a UNESCO Creative City. So the College of Arts and Communication, the College of Social Sciences, and even the College of Science mount exhibits also to commemorate this very important and significant recognition of Baguio as a creative city.
Thank you po. Kili, can you unmute Joao? Hindi ko siya. Yeah. I think participants cannot unmute themselves. Is that possible?
Hello.
Ayan.
Good morning, Chansey. Thank you very much for your interesting and very clear presentation on how this proposed program will help nurture and promote cities' artistic and cultural heritage. And I believe that this will enrich the experiences of our tourist visitors who will be coming to Baguio. But I'm more interested, Chancellor, on the side of the residents, the local people. So my question is more on what do you think? I mean, strategies that can this project or perhaps the city should employ in ensuring that the benefits from this touristic encounters or experiences are distributed fairly and equitably among residents of Baguio, including the so-called marginalized communities. And if there are metrics or indicators that this project or the city can use to assess the impact of these equitable distribution strategies and ensure somehow accountability in its program. So yun lang, more on the residents or the people who will be benefiting here in Baguio? Thank you.
Okay, mahirap ang tanong mo, Joao, actually. Mahirap yung tanong niya but that is a question that is really bottom line. At the end of the day, what is the bottom line of all this for the Baguio residents? Okay, so in my work, I just showcase bundles from the perspective of an entrepreneur who would like to consciously encourage tourists not only to just shop and eat, but really to recognize and appreciate the culture of Baguio. In the process, I earn. In the process, I earn in rendering these services. At the same time, I did something civic by ensuring that culture and arts in the city is appreciated and respected by the tourists. Now, how will it redound to the residents of Baguio City? So this is really the economic welfare analysis of any particular business and how local governments could ensure that whatever earnings derived by businesses are returned back to the residents. Of course, in obviously in economics, the only way to do that is through taxation and redistribution. So if government is efficient in collecting taxes and more effective in redistributing the tax in the form of social services, especially to the more marginalized, then that is one very good avenue for which the benefits of this tourism activity could redound to the residents. I have several occasions talking to Mayor Magalong, and he would always emphasize his passion and commitment for good governance. I don't know if you have, if some of you had encounters with him in many of his talks. He would always include governance in many of his talks, because I think he's championing good governance. So I'm looking forward that passion could really translate to a process. Yun na yung tinatanong ni Sir Joao, to a process that could redistribute the earnings that is generated by this surge of tourism to the more needy sectors of Baguio City. I had one lecture delivered during the anniversary of CSC anniversary lectures on the fiscal and the fiscal and monetary policies adopted by the city in order to support COVID, the residents during COVID. And in there, ipinakita ko doon ang iba-ibang monetary policies, fiscal policies na inadapt ng city para matulungan yung iba-ibang sectors like the drivers, the horseback, yung mga owners ng mga horses diyan sa park, the entrepreneurs, may mga ganon. There are very concrete figures on how assistance have been extended to them. But that's during the pandemic. I really wouldn't know how money is redistributed and how much of that goes to the welfare, the social welfare of the residents. But hopefully, sana ganon. Through the taxation system and the redistributive justice being redistributive justice inspired by good governance, makikinabang ang mga residents na at the moment are nagsasuffer naman ng the other side of tourism, di ba? Lahat tayo, alam naman natin yan na pag madaming turista, ang residents ang nagsasuffer. So while the tourists are better off with these different bundles and packages, the residents are worse off because of the negative externalities coming from tourism, which is traffic, garbage, accessibility, and other social problems arising from so many people coming to a particular place. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Thank you po, Dr. Abansi. We have a question here sent to me for Mr. Cadavona. So we did not hear from him because his partner presented the paper. So in your paper, were you also in continuation of that discussion, no, of policies in your paper, were you able um to find, or to find policies related to this, no, on how women can have economic empowerment through entrepreneurship that was implemented in the city of Baguio? Mr. Dane Cadavona. Dito siya, right?
For now po, sa DTI po yung ano.
Yes,
For now, meron pong parang uh, somehow prioritization yung DTI into helping women entrepreneurs in their ventures with their businesses po.
all right. Thank you. Do we have more questions for our panel presenters today from the audience? And for Chancy Cora, prospects for research, what topics related to this would you recommend our students to explore for research? This is from Dean. Any considerations on one appropriate fees to be collected for the bundled heritage tour?
And I asked this question because I know that Chancy Cora actually did an earlier study that's similar to this for Sagada. And I think the study that she did also inspired the LGU to collect fees or higher fees for the Sagada tours. So I'm thinking if Chancellor Cora could actually guide students also, or give some advices on how students should approach this, and do a more systematic study that could lead to proper recommendations or suggestions on what fees could be collected for bundle tours like this.
Okay, so that is really the objective to really complete this one and present it as a viable business proposition that has the full economic analysis in it, so that makikita natin if it would really work. So at the end of the day, we are economists, and I am a faculty of the Institute of Management, where we manage organizations, business and non-business. And at the end of the day, we always look at the financial sustainability and viability of any proposed project. Sa mga ekonomista at mga taga-management, finance is the lifeblood of any organization. So maganda yung tanong ni Dinlea, natumbok niya yung ending sana ng mga ganitong type of study. So this is a preliminary one. It is meant to inspire, meant to trigger interest. And it has to go it still has to go a long way, kasi nga kailangan natin ng lagyan ngayon ng computation, which is not just estimates but really computations that integrate both actual cost and opportunity cost of doing this. So marami kaming ME students na nandito who will be doing thesis later on. Every year I have advices from the MEs who try to duplicate what I have done in the past. So baka mayroon dyan sa mga students natin ngayon who would take interest in this, and we could take this further so that magawa siya na talagang action research na with estimates of economic viability, and also as an entrepreneurial project that can be taken on in the future.
Thank you po. Oh, so that could be also a message to ME and students here, of what research you could do. Sino Mr. Cadavona naman kaya? Anong mga other recommendations nyo anong mga sinulat nyo na recommendations for future research in your thesis? Baka makatulong din ito sa mga other ME students. Nandito rin pala si Jane. Kili, can you kindly unmute her daw? Thank you.
Good morning to our audiences, our host, and to our deans, and everyone here that's present. For our recommendations, first probably is to not only focus on the DTI registered businesses, because in business kasi maraming business registrations. So what we recommend is you also go beyond DTI, so you can filter more your respondents to BIR registrations. And also, based dun sa results that we presented, it's not just accumulation of power and financial independence that dictated the economic empowerment of women. And so we recommend that maybe you can explore other indicators that were not included in our study, because we found that a business type, kung micro, small, medium ka, can also actually influence how much power you have, as well as the duration of the business operation, whether it be 1 year or 7 years or more, can also influence your power in a sense. I think then also have other recommendations for a thesis. Then take it away.
Mr. Cadafona.
Sorry, nakamute pala. Okay, so we would like to recommend DTI CAR to extend their various programs to other Filipino entrepreneurs, particularly for micro enterprises to enhance their access to economic resources. And we would like them to establish and promote accessible and tailored business support services and a review and revision of existing policies.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so do we have more questions from our audience? Final thoughts on this morning's presentations? Yan, mukhang wala na po. Yeah, this has been a very, very fruitful discussion, no? We're glad that our speakers are here, not to expand more on their papers. Adine, do you have any final thoughts, no? Or remarks po?
Wala naman. I just hope that our students will pick up from these topics that's really meant for that. So both undergraduate and graduate, I know that these studies are really that the reason why we're doing all these lectures is not this is not a conference. This is really to start to keep on navigating areas for research and to inspire more researches on Baguio to be done. And not just in UP Baguio, but for our for students as well, and enthusiasts who are working on research elsewhere in Baguio. We happy to join you, and I hope that these lectures can can add more ideas on what to do for research. That's why we also wanted to. We have asked our speakers to show how they approach the topics, as well as frameworks they've used, so that students can explore more on this and the kind of results that they are looking into which is why we asked them to talk more about this. But other than that, we also hope that our audiences online can join us for the next panels for afternoon, the last two panels for this afternoon. So that's all for me, Verna. Thank you.
Thank you po, Dean. So I would also like to thank our speakers for your very informative discussions this morning. So we really learned a lot from your works, and yun nga po, I hope that our students are also inspired to do studies on Baguio City. So for the speakers, we will be sending a digital certificate. So I'll read the certificate. Now, 114th Baguio Charter Day Anniversary Lectures presents this certificate of appreciation to Ms. Erin Jane Ramos and Mr. Dane Cadavona and Professor and Chancellor Corazon Abansi for sharing their invaluable findings and insights from the research work during the 114th celebration of Baguio Charter Day, held jointly by the College of Social Sciences and the College of Science on the 12th of September 2023, virtually. Signed, Assistant Professor Franz Joseph Yoshi II, Chairperson CSS Lecture Series, and Dr. Leah Abayo, Dean College of Social Sciences. Yeah, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Kili, kindly send the evaluation forms. Yan, please accomplish the evaluation form for today's event. And sabi nga ni Dean, we also invite you to watch to the second and the third panel this afternoon. Ayan. So the link is in our chat box. Again, thank you very much, everyone, and we hope to see you this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chansey.
Thank you, Dean, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you po.
I don't know if we have to keep this on.